You're listening to
American Timelines.
American Timelines. American Timelines by History for Jerks.
History for Jerks, the greatest
podcast ever.
American Timelines is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Find out more at queencitypodcastnetwork.com.
So now I'm obsessed with time. Come on, tell me about the time. Had it all in my hand tonight. Had the time of my life. When the words all go down.
Welcome to another episode of American Timelines. I'm Amy.
And I'm Fellatio Newburns.
And this is the podcast that brings you all the crazy, nostalgic, interesting things that have happened in the past, and we do it year by year.
That's right, baby. And I'm with my homie Conroy Parchment, and we do it like that.
No.
We do it like this.
I'm Amy, that's Joe. And tonight we are talking about 1963.
That's right. This is episode 74. We're starting a new year, y'all. A new year, 1963. And you know what happens? Y'all know at this point, you listen enough of these episodes, baby. You know what happens, baby. What's up, baby?
Okay.
I'm also Dusty Rhodes. The
No,
American Dream Dusty Rhodes, baby.
We're
You know
not
what I'm saying,
doing
baby? Oh, yeah, baby. What we do is we talk about some things that happened in the year, but we don't really have dates for them.
To give
But
us a
it's
flavor of the year,
but
to
if-
give us a kind of a
just a little something.
little touch of what the
Just
whole
tell you
year was
something
about.
the year. Just get you in the mood for the year, baby.
All right, what's the first item up for bid?
Well, minimum wage. You want to guess what minimum wage was in 1963, baby?
$2.25.
Hey, baby, you're wrong. It was $1.25 an hour.
Wow.
It was minimum wage.
Can you imagine?
The price of a VO5 bottle of shampoo, 15 ounces, was 77 cents.
Man.
And prescription drug Valium was introduced by a Swiss drug company
Was it really?
called Roche Labs.
They're still around.
Yep. And
It went gangbusters, Valium.
Valium was very popular.
Very popular
still
ever
is.
since.
The ZIP from Zip Code stands for Zone Improvement Plan. That was implemented in 1963.
Was it really? They didn't have zip codes before
As a
1963?
means of streamlining the mail system. That's what I thought, but I swear we talked about that before. Remember they
Yeah,
had
I
the
felt
zip,
like we did too.
They had that Zip Code mascot to
Yeah,
introduce it.
that's
but
right.
maybe that was
No,
just like
that was
getting
like the
people to-
80s or something, wasn't it? Where they came out with, it was
No.
a postal service mascot to the post office was,
But we talked about like Zippy the mascot or something. but they
right,
didn't
and
have-
he was, yeah.
But maybe they finally implemented him in 63 or something. I didn't want to do a whole lot of,
Yeah.
postal history is not that interesting.
Not really that interesting.
Nobody cares about that.
It is weird, though, to think about not having any zip codes.
Yeah. How about this? Did you know that Harry Smith
Mm-hmm.
was the top bowler in 1963? And in 1963, the top bowler, Harry Smith, made more money than the Major League Baseball MVP Sandy Koufax and the NFL MVP Y.A. Tittle combined.
Whoa. Boy, bowling was really high up there.
It was a big deal then. That's according to Priceonomics.com.
I can't believe
So
that.
you take the NFL MVP and the MLB MVP and combine, their salaries, and the pro bowler made more than them.
That's amazing.
Now, if you find a pro bowler, they will give you a blowjob for a nickel.
They will.
Behind an Arby's.
They all have side jobs and stuff now.
A lot of them behind an Arby's. Like
That's
you
right.
can get some of the best bowler sex behind an Arby's.
That's true.
Behind
And
the
that's
dumpster.
what I've heard.
Yeah. So, yeah. And
Yep.
I have a funny story about a pro bowler at Special Olympics where
Oh, my God.
one of the participants of Special Olympics called a pro bowler a fucking bitch. you suck, you bitch, right after they called his name. Like, oh, and welcome pro bowler Harry Smith. And oh, you suck, you bitch. It was very funny. He was having a bad day.
Gentleman with disabilities.
Yeah, and and the poor bowler just waved at everybody. And then also,
well, you're at the Special Olympics, so you probably kind of know
you
what's up.
expect something.
Yeah, something's going to happen.
Something like that, Special Olympics, yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a couple things. Did you know that the bacon cheeseburger was the first time it was offered in a restaurant was in 1963?
So, who was the gourmet chef that invented that concoction?
I bet you in a million years you can't guess what restaurant originated the bacon cheeseburger. You'll never guess.
Burger King.
Nope.
What?
A&W.
Oh, they were kind of known for their bacon cheeseburgers.
According to Thrillist.com, the story goes that in 1963, longtime Michigan franchise owner Dale Mulder.
It's always these franchise owners that are coming up with these recipes.
Well, he took cues from his repeat customers, always requesting slabs of bacon on top of their cheeseburgers. And so he decided to put the thing on the restaurant's menu. And before you scoff at that can't possibly be true, check this. Not only did several regional journalists investigate and corroborate the claim in the 60s, but when A&W launched an ad campaign in 2014 boasting about it, nobody came forward to contest.
Man, so it must be true.
According to Thrillist.com, y'all.
Yeah.
Also, 1963, we saw the invention of the Kodak Instamatic camera.
Okay. So before that, I wonder what the cameras were like.
Before
Instamatic.
I think there were giant ones, and you had to like take the film,
Take the big bulb off and stuff.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
big flash bulb. Hey, see, hey,
yeah,
press. Those
you're
guys with
right.
the press hats.
Yep.
Hey, see,
and they all had big flash
check the
bulbs.
triple dicks. But did you know that the lead designer of the Instamatic program was Dean M. Peterson?
I did not.
Peterson was born and raised in South Dakota, graduated from Aberdeen Central High School in 1950, and attended Northern State for 2 years before transferring to the South Dakota School of Mines and Technology.
Who cares about all that?
But listen to this. He went to work for Eastman Kodak and earning a BS from mines in 1954, and he married his high school sweetheart.
We don't need to go into this.
And he served 2 years in the Army at the end of the Korean War.
All right. What's next?
You don't care.
I'm cutting you off. I'm done with the Kodak.
You don't care about Dean Peterson?
I'm calling done with that.
Okay, I have a commercial.
Okay.
Forward march! Oh, I'd love to be an Oscar Meyer wiener. That is what I truly like to be. 'Cause if I were an Oscar Meyer wiener, everyone would be in love with me. A big parade is so inspiring. Oh, I'm glad I'm not an Oscar Meyer wiener. That is what I never want to be.
I just want to be a
But
wiener.
if I were an Oscar Meyer wiener, there would soon be nothing left of me. Oh, I love to be an
Oscar Meyer wieners are all meat, all good meat, rich in complete meat protein, mildly seasoned to bring out all the good meat flavor.
Everyone would be in love with me.
They didn't even call them wiener, hot dogs. They just call them wieners.
Yeah.
Oscar
They still
Meyer
do.
Wiener. They do?
Yeah, the Wienermobile.
Oh yeah, I guess. I was like, where did the wiener come from? Where did the name wiener?
Wiener Schnitzel.
Oh, I guess.
Where did
it's
hot
German.
dog come from? That would be the one to
Because
look
it
up.
looks like a dog. It looks like a.
It does not look like.
It looks like a Dachshund.
No,
Dachshund.
Dachshunds. No, Dachshunds look like hot dogs. Hot dogs don't look like Dachshunds.
Yeah, they do. They both look like each other.
Dachshunds look like hot dogs.
Colt 45 malt liquor. You ever hear of that?
Yes.
That
Originated
you know what it was named? Like where they got the name Colt 45?
from the gun.
Nope. Wrong. Boom. Wrong.
From what?
Colt 45 malt liquor was not named after the handgun. It was named after Jerry Hill, the 1963 running back for the Baltimore Colts, whose jersey number was number 45.
Wonder why they honored him so much.
Colt 45. They loved him.
They must have loved him.
Yeah, but you didn't know that. Well, I know you didn't know that because we just talked about you not knowing that.
That's right.
And then back to Dean Peterson news. The guy who invented the Kodak Insta.
No, we're done with
camera.
his
I got
life.
Just more of his bio.
No more of his bio. We're not. I called done with that.
Okay, how about this? Speaking of guns, the British military once took a Vickers World War I machine gun in 1963. I couldn't find the date. I looked everywhere. But they fired that machine gun continuously for 7 days.
They took a Vickers
Nonstop.
machine gun.
A machine gun to see how long. This was such a well-made machine gun. They said, let's see how long it takes to jam.
Oh.
Just continuously shooting it.
Yeah.
It went for 7 days nonstop.
How did they feed it ammo?
Just, I don't know, however you do. They just
I know,
kept
but
feeding.
you gotta like after all the
No, they
ammo's
just-
used up, then you have to.
No, they have them like on big long string. You just keep feeding.
Oh, like
them,
a
I
big
think.
long-
Yeah, I guess I don't know anything about machine guns, but anyway,
Why did they do that?
they kept it running to see when like it was so well made. They're like, how long? What is the life of one of these? When will it jam and
so
and ruin?
it's shot for 7 days.
7 days straight to see when it would, if and when it would malfunction. It never did, and they just gave up.
Oh my
It was
god!
that good, like nonstop shooting.
Well, isn't that nice?
A lot of shooting, a lot of bullets.
Isn't that lovely?
And then I think the biggest thing I have, longest thing, is this.
Okay.
The 2,000-year-old seeds were discovered in 1963
Okay.
inside an ancient jar in Israel.
Okay.
Okay? They estimated
Yeah.
that they were 2,000 years old.
Wow.
Seeds. Mm-hmm. So they didn't, but then somebody found them and then they just put them in a drawer somewhere.
Yeah.
And they were planted in 2005.
They were?
Yeah. Just to see what would
Yeah.
happen. And a tree that had been extinct for over 1,800 years sprouted.
Really?
Yep. This is according to National Geographic. A male date palm tree. It's a date palm tree.
Okay.
And they named it Methuselah. It sprouted from a 2,000-year-old seed nearly a decade ago, and it's thriving today. They checked back in on it in 2008. They said still thriving
Wow. Where
Yeah.
is it, I wonder?
in Israel. According to Israeli researcher Elaine Soloway, she says, he is a big boy now. She's the director of the Arava Institute for Environmental Studies at Kibbutz Kentura in Israel.
Okay.
He's over 3 meters, 10 feet tall. He's got a few offshoots. He has flowers, and his pollen is good, she says. We pollinated...
She sounds like she's in love with him.
I rub him all over my beaver every day.
That's what it sounds like.
We pollinated a female with his pollen, a wild modern female, and yeah, he can make dates.
Okay.
And so she... The seeds spent years in somebody's drawer. In the years since Methuselah first sprouted, Soloway has successfully germinated a handful of other date palms from ancient seeds recovered at other archaeological sites around the Dead Sea. Mm-hmm. So she's trying to figure out how to make an ancient date grove, she says. To do that, she'll need to grow a female plant from an ancient seed as a mate for Methuselah. So far, at least 2 other ancient seeds that have sprouted are female.
So,
And she says, if I succeed at mating these, we would know what kind of dates they ate in those days and what they were like. And that would be exciting.
I'm so dumb.
Ancient dates.
I don't realize that trees had male and female versions.
Yeah, you
I
are
thought
dumb.
trees just
You,
like-
you never saw a couple trees fuck?
the seeds fall and then new trees grow from those seeds.
They have to germinate.
I didn't know other trees germinated them.
Yep.
I thought like bees did or something.
But here's the biggest thing that this is so exciting and cool and amazing that these old seeds. But in 2012, scientists in Russia were able to grow a plant from a 32,000-year-old seed
Whoa.
that had been buried by an ice age squirrel in Siberia.
How come the seeds never go bad?
I don't know. That's an amazing thing.
Yeah, that they still would
32,000
grow.
years?
It's crazy. It
There
makes
could-
you can get real cosmic with it and think like, what is life?
It just, it makes you
Like,
realize
what-
we're nothing. We're just a blip.
When does life begin if
Yeah.
the seed can sit for 32,000 years?
And fly through space.
Is it living in there?
Well, if you think about it, the ocean wasn't even here originally.
Is the
It was
seed alive?
There was nothing on Earth, and then a fucking meteorite hit it, and frozen ice, and then it turned in the ocean. So all the shit that's in the ocean came from space.
Are seeds considered alive?
Well, according to pro-lifers, I'm sure.
No, I'm talking about normal people.
No. No, they're not alive.
Seeds aren't?
No,
When does life begin?
when they're germinated. Life begins at hello.
We're getting real cosmic. All right.
Life begins when you... No, that's the thing. That's the whole pro-life versus pro-choice thing.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
like
We're not getting into
something
that.
life begins at a thought.
All
you know,
right.
you always hear people say, honey, you were just a thought in your dad's drink or something. That was like meaning your parents are going to fucking make you.
Gross. Who says that?
It's in a movie or something once. Like you were just a
that's
drop
gross.
in your dad's wine or something. Didn't you ever hear that? I can be making that
I'm
up.
getting all stuffed up again.
Maybe I don't hear that. And remember, when we came into January 1963, Leftover from 1962 was the number one song on the Billboard chart. Remember what it was?
Nope.
The Tornadoes. It was an instrumental satellite song.
Oh, yeah.
Telstar.
Yeah, I do remember it.
It was shitty. Anyway, I just want to make sure you remembered that.
I recalled.
January 12th, 1963. The new number one song is by Steve Lawrence. Do you know who that is?
No.
Here's a hint. He sang with Edie Gourmet. Steve and Edie.
Oh, okay.
You've heard of Steve
yeah,
and Edie?
I have heard of Steve and Edie, but I don't know. I don't know if I know. I'll probably know what it is, but. Ugh.
I'm not supposed to be alone with you.
Creepy.
Yeah.
I know that your lips are sweet,
Ugh.
but our lips must never meet. I belong to someone else.
Oh, he belongs to someone else.
I must be true.
Right. But remember, this was already a chart hit. It was written by Jerry Goffin and Carol King, and Bobby V did it in 62. And I think we talked about this because I thought it was creepy too.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like a
Pedophile.
pedophile. But this is what's in the American Top 23 times. And for Steve Lawrence in 62. Wait a minute. Oh, it came out in November 62. Didn't get the number one till 63. Anyway, this sucks. I'm trying to turn it off as fast as I can. That's terrible. Steve and Edie suck.
Yeah.
So I
was
just
it
know,
Steve and Edie, or was it
that
just
was just Steve Lawrence, but he
Okay.
sang with. But he
Steve and
recorded again with Edie, I think, another
I don't know
time.
any of the, yeah.
But Steve and Edie, I only know because of Saturday Night Live when Phil Hartman and Frank Sinatra, he had the Frank Sinatra show, and he had Steve and Edie on the guest, and Mike Myers was Steve.
Oh.
He was like, "This is Steve and Edie Gourmet," and he was like, "Kick his ass, Steve!" Like he got in a fight with Sting. Remember Sting came on
Oh
there?
yeah, I kind of remember
and he
that.
was like,
Yeah.
Sting, like something like that. He was like, "Kick his ass, Steve," and he tries to. And then Sting beats the shit out of Steve Lawrence. It was
I
funny.
don't know if I ever saw that.
No, it was Billy Idol. Sting was playing Billy Idol. That's right. And he was like, "Kick his ass," and that's when he said, "I got chunks of guys like you in my stool."
Yeah.
Phil Hartman was the best. Anyway, that was one of the best sketches ever, in my opinion, my humble opinion.
IMHO.
What?
IMHO.
What does that mean?
In my humble opinion.
I think you're thinking of LMFAO, the band.
No, I see people put IMHO all the time.
Oh, I don't know that I've ever seen that or ever known what that meant.
Now you do.
I think I thought that was a prayer when people said that. And then January 26th, that didn't last. Steve Lawrence didn't last very long. So we have the very next song, The Rooftop Singers. Mm-hmm. See if you know this song.
Oh yeah.
Country
Walk
blues
right
song.
in, sit right down.
Walk right in, yeah. Written by Gus
I love
Cannon.
this one. This is a great one.
This was originally recorded by Cannon's Jug Stompers in 1929.
Do you wanna lose
It was a new version by the Rooftop Singers.
Yeah, this is great.
Became an international hit. Spent 2 weeks at number one. 5 weeks atop the easy listening chart. This was nominated for a Grammy in the category for Best Folk Recording.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have anything else to say about this.
It's a good song. Do you wanna lose your mind?
This group was composed of Eric Darling and Bill Svano and former jazz singer Lynn Taylor.
Okay.
And they were all murdered.
Nobody was murdered.
Okay, they weren't murdered. But Eric Darling was born in Baltimore, Maryland.
All right. We don't have to. We're good.
You don't want their whole life story?
Nope. I do not.
What about Dean Peterson? You want to hear more about him?
Nope.
You know what?
No. Stop.
You're racist towards Dean Petersons. And then we already have the... I guess I don't have much for 1963 because I already have the third number one song.
Jeez, it's a hit parade right now.
Yeah, February 9th. Well, these didn't last very long.
Yeah.
So the next one was February 9th, 1963. This is Paul and Paula.
Hey, Paula,
Hey, Paula.
I want to marry you. Hey,
What are you doing?
hey, Paula,
There it is.
Yeah.
I want to marry you. Hey, Paula.
This is recorded by Paul and Paula. So Paul was singing to Paula. It hit number one on the Billboard Hot 100.
I thought it was Richie Valens who sang this.
Nope.
Oh.
Paul was the song's writer. Ray Hildebrand, a student at Texas Howard Payne University, a Baptist institution in the city of Brownwood. Paula was Jill Jackson, the niece of the owner of the boarding house where Ray lived.
Oh.
How about that?
This would be a fun duet to do at a karaoke.
Yeah, I never knew Paula sang in it. I only knew
yes,
the first
she does.
line. They took inspiration from Annette Funicello's hit Tall Paul, I guess, when they wrote this.
I don't know what that means.
And they performed this song on a local radio station and it became popular enough, the duo, to try to make a professional recording. They went to a
think they did
studio.
good.
They went to a studio in Fort Worth, Texas, and were fortunate enough to find producer Major Bill Smith.
All right.
The rest
It's
is
history. This is a good one.
I don't know if it's good.
It's nice and 60s.
It's nice and 60s. And then on February
Hello?
11th. What?
Hello?
February 11th,
All right.
1963. You want to know what happened?
I do.
The Beatles recorded a song called Twist and Shout.
Not one of my favorites.
And it was released on their first UK album, Please Please Me. And was based on the Isley Brothers version.
Yeah.
And featured John Lennon on lead vocals.
Maybe that's one of the reasons I didn't like it, is because it's not an original Beatles song.
But here's the thing about it. John had a sore throat.
Oh, right. So
And you
when
hear
he's
how
singing,
he sounds so
yeah.
raspy on that?
Yeah.
The song was the last to be recorded during a marathon 13-hour album session.
Jeez.
Producer George Martin knew that Lennon's voice would suffer from the performance, so we left it until last, because the way that song is, he's got to kind of yell it. With only 15 minutes of scheduled recording time remaining, Lennon had a cold. He was drinking milk and sucking on cough drops
Why
to
was he
soothe his sore
drinking
throat.
milk?
To try to soothe his
Yeah, but
throat.
to sing, that's like the worst thing to do if you're going to sing.
But they said it. I don't know. He did to soothe his throat. His
Wacky 60s.
His coughing is audible on the album, as is the cold's effect on his voice. He remarked that his voice was not the same for a long time afterward, and that it felt like
He's probably got
sandpaper to
vocal
swallow.
nodes. Yeah, he got nodes on his vocal cords.
Initially, he felt ashamed of his performance in the song because he knew he could sing better than that. But now it doesn't bother me. He says.
No, well, I was
later
going
on,
to say, he doesn't say
he's
that
dead.
now, yeah.
He said later, it didn't bother him. You can hear that I'm just a frantic guy doing his best. A second take was attempted, but Lennon had nothing left and it was abandoned.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, that's not one of
But
my
that's the day it
favorites.
was recorded.
Okay.
And then on February 20th, 1963, a family saga covering several decades of westward expansion of the 19th century was released, including the Gold Rush, the Civil War, and the building of the railroads. Directed by John Ford and Henry Hathaway. Written by James R. Webb, starring James Stewart, John Wayne, and Gregory Peck.
Oh, what movie?
How the West Was Won.
Did we watch the preview of that?
I don't think so.
No. I've never seen it. So I don't.
This was nominated for Best Picture. I don't know why we're talking about this.
Well, it's star-studded, that's for sure.
Yeah, it must have been. It must have been the top grossing
movies.
I'm not sure why we're talking about it. It's something. It either was nominated
something
for a Best Picture, or it was.
It probably was.
High grossing.
Let's just go with that. We'll just say that.
Let's just say it was, and if it wasn't, then F
Who
the
cares?
people who look it up. Although James Stewart's character was only supposed to be 28 in the movie,
yeah,
Stewart was actually 53 at the time of
oh
filming.
my god, a little bit different.
Stuntman Bob Morgan was seriously injured and almost died while performing a stunt in this picture. Toward the end of the film, there's a gunfight on a moving train between the sheriff and a gang of train robbers. That alone makes me want to watch it.
Yeah.
Morgan was one of the stuntmen playing a robber and was crouched next to a pile of logs on a flat car. The chains holding the logs together snapped, and Morgan was crushed by the falling logs.
Oh, my God.
He was so badly hurt, it took him 5 years to recover to the point where he was able to move by himself and walk unaided.
Well, and back then, stunt people weren't paid shit.
Oh, no.
They didn't have any insurance, or
Yeah.
he was probably destitute after
They were
that.
behind the Arby's with giving blowjobs with the professional bowlers.
They are, seriously.
Yep. And then on March 2nd, 1963, the Four Seasons take over the number one spot on the Billboard chart with this song that I know you know.
Walk Like a Man.
Yep. Written by Bob Crew and Bob Gaudio. Recorded by the Four Seasons.
Who redid this? Somebody redid this, didn't they?
Divine.
No, that's not what I was thinking.
1985, somebody did it. The Mary Jane Girls covered it. This is in the 1996 film Sleepers. Also in 1993's film Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This is part of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's 500 songs that shaped rock and roll.
Really?
Yep.
It's all right.
During the sessions that produced this hit recording, the fire department received an emergency call from the Abbey Victoria Hotel, where the studio was, as producer Bob Crew was insisting upon recording the perfect take. Smoke and water started to seep into the studio. The room directly above the studio was on fire, but Crew had blocked the studio door. He continued recording until a few firemen used their axes on the door and pulled Crew out.
Oh my God.
How about that?
During a different take than this, obviously.
I guess it was they were producing this hit recording, I guess.
Wow.
I guess they just, maybe if you listen close you can hear it.
You hear somebody breaking down the door.
Yeah. All right, get the fuck out of there. Yeah, there you go.
All right.
That's some info about that one you didn't know.
A little tidbit.
And then on March 5th, 1963, do you want to guess the airplane celebrity death of 1963?
Ooh, just one celebrity?
Just one celebrity.
I don't know.
Her name rhymes with Patsy Cline.
I was going to say that.
You were going to say Patsy Cline?
I was going to say Patsy Cline.
No,
I
wrong.
was just getting ready to say that.
It's Natsy
Stop it.
Brine. Yes, Patsy Cline. Did
I
you know she
should've
died on
said
an
it.
airplane?
Yeah, I did.
I didn't even know she was dead.
Oh,
I thought
well.
she was still alive.
No, she's not.
Well, you know the circumstances of her death in the plane and everything?
Just
tell the story. You tell
No,
the story.
no, I don't know it well enough to tell it. I think at one point I did know it.
Well,
but
I do.
You tell it.
She performed a benefit at the Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Hall, Kansas City, Kansas, where avid listener Brendan Kane lives.
Yeah.
He lives in that Memorial Hall. He's down on his luck.
Does he listen?
No, I don't think so.
God damn it.
Anyway, she performed that benefit for the family of disc jockey Cactus Jack Call. He had died in an automobile crash a little over a month earlier. He was a longtime DJ, but had switched, he was a longtime DJ. At the age of 39, he passed away. Also performing in the show were George Jones, George Riddle, and the Jones Boys, Billy Walker, Dottie West, Wilma Lee, and Stoney Cooper. George McCormick, the Clinch Mountain Boys.
They were all on the airplane?
As well. No, they were all performing at this
Oh,
benefit.
who cares? Why are you naming all the people?
I don't know. This is a big benefit. The
All right,
Cowboy
so we get
Copas
it.
and
There's a lot of
Hawkshaw
people there.
Hawkins. Anyway, she was ill. Patsy Cline was ill with the flu, but still gave 3 performances at 2 p.m., 5:15, and with an 8
Wow.
p.m. show added.
Probably had some manager that was crazy.
Due
that was
to
making her
popular
do-
demand, yeah. All the shows were standing room only. They were packed because she was so popular, even
Yeah.
though she was sick. For the 2 p.m. show, she wore a sky blue tulle-laden dress.
Tulle.
Tulle? I don't know. I've never seen that word before. I don't know what that means. For the 5:15
It's
show,
that stiff net like stuff that goes under dresses.
I didn't say
that
I
makes
wanna
it full.
know.
Oh,
for the 5:15 show, she wore a red shocker, whatever that is. I thought a shocker was 2
It's
in the
what-
pink, 1 in the stink.
I think that is what they're talking about.
Oh,
She
yeah.
wore that.
She was wearing some guy's hand. And for the closing show at 8 p.m., Klein wore white chiffon, closing the evening to a thunderous ovation. Her final song was the last she had recorded the previous month, I'll Sail My Ship Alone. Kind of sad, knowing that's the last song she sang. She had spent the night at the Townhouse Motor Hotel.
Boy, not very.
I know, yeah, but it was the 60s. So
Yeah,
she
it's
was
true.
unable. I bet motels and hotels weren't that bad
Yeah.
in the 60s. 'cause it
Or
was-
they were all bad.
or maybe they're all just shitty. Anyway,
In
she-
movies, they always look shitty.
She was unable to fly out the day after the concert because Fairfax Airport was fogged in.
Oh,
West asked Patsy to ride in the car with her and husband Bill back to Nashville, a 16-hour drive. But Klein refused, saying, "Don't worry about me, Hoss. When it's my time to go, it's my time."
well, I wouldn't want to be in a 16-hour drive either.
Yeah.
I probably would have died too.
So on March 5th, she called her mother from the motel, checked out at 12:30 p.m., going the short distance to the airport, and boarding a Piper PA-24 Comanche plane. The plane stopped once in Missouri to refuel and subsequently landed in Dyersburg Municipal Airport in Dyersburg, Tennessee at 5 p.m.
Okay,
So she was
she's
pretty
fine.
close at this time.
Yeah.
Like she's going back to Nashville, and she's in Tennessee by 5 p.m. Hughes was the pilot, but he was not trained in instrument flying.
What? How can you be a pilot and not trained in instrument flying?
I don't know, but Hawkins had accepted Billy Walker's place after Walker left on a commercial flight to take care of a stricken family member. The Dyersburg, Tennessee airfield manager suggested that they stay the night because of high winds and inclement weather, offering them free rooms and meals. But Hughes responded, I've already come this far. We'll be there before you know it."
Who's Hughes again?
Randy Hughes,
Was the pilot?
the owner and pilot of the aircraft, Ramsey Randy Doris Hughes.
Doris.
Yeah, he was 34, but he was also Patsy Cline's manager and the
Oh,
son-in-law of Cowboy Copas.
So he was the manager, and that's why he wanted to keep going.
Yeah, he said, "I've already come this far. We'll be there before you know it. See? See? The plane took off at 6:07 p.m. And Hughes' flight instructor, Elmo Merriweather, everybody knows Elmo Merriweather. He had also trained Jim Reeves, whose plane crashed the following year.
Whoa.
And neither pilot was instrument rated, and both attempted to navigate by visual flight rules, VFR,
Okay.
which proved impossible in the driving rain faced by both flights.
Oh, man.
Klein's flight crashed in heavy weather on the evening of March 5th, 1963, and they recovered her wristwatch that had stopped at 6:20 p.m.
Oh, man. So I wonder when... Does it stop on impact?
I think. The plane was found some 90 miles from its Nashville destination in a forest outside Camden, Tennessee. Forensic examination concluded that everyone aboard had been killed instantly. Until the wreckage was discovered the following dawn and reported on the radio, friends and family had not given up hope.
Oh, man.
Endless calls tied up the local telephone exchanges to such a degree that other emergency calls had trouble getting through. The lights at the destination Cornell Fort Air Park were kept on throughout the night as reports of the missing plane were broadcast on radio and TV.
So it's a big deal.
Roger Miller and a friend went searching for survivors. As fast as I could, I ran through the woods, screaming their names. Through the brush and the trees, and I came up over this little rise. Oh, my God, there they were. It was ghastly. The plane had crashed nose down. Shortly after their bodies were removed, looters scavenged the area. Some of the items which were recovered were eventually donated to the Country Music Hall of Fame. Among them were Cline's wristwatch, a Confederate flag cigarette lighter, a studded belt, and 3 pairs of gold lame slippers. Cline's fee and her attire from the last performance were never recovered.
So it might be out there in the woods somewhere.
It might be. Could be.
When do you remember when my date was?
Yeah.
Okay.
The very next day, March 6th, 1963. That brings us to something you're going to tell us about on March 6th, 1963. So what are you going to tell me about?
I'm going to tell you about Carol Thompson.
Carol Thompson, y'all. Sounds like a hottie with a body.
Stop that.
What?
All right, so she was...
Stop that.
Her father was a respected local business owner.
Oh, and what locality?
She was in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Oh, St. Paul, Minnesota.
And
the Twin Cities.
She was the wife of an up-and-coming attorney.
Okay.
And the mother of 4 children, ages 6 to 13.
And I don't know if you know this, but around 1962, it was chilly in Minnesota, probably.
I'm glad you're
it's
here.
It's always cold in
All
Minnesota. The home of the Vikings.
So,
greatest team ever.
She was described as like the prototypical early 1960s wife and mother.
Oh, so hot.
There was everything but the white picket fence outside their house.
Oh, they could. Why didn't they have the fence?
She was active in her Presbyterian church and in the Scouts, and did all the things that stay-at-home mothers in those days did.
But they definitely don't put up white picket fences because she doesn't have one.
No.
She's probably praying for one at church.
She had a million friends with whom she played bridge, and she got together for coffee parties.
Oh, those bridge ladies know how to get it on.
I know that coffee party.
Coffee party.
So at about 8:30 in the morning on March 6th,
nobody's wearing bras.
1963.
Yeah.
So
what happened?
she was surprised by an intruder in her home.
An intruder in her home
Yes,
in Minnesota.
in her comfortable Highland Park neighborhood of St. Paul.
Highland Park, St. Paul. That is a nice place, and I've actually heard of that because I listen to local Vikings radio when they talk about Highland Park.
So according to newspaper accounts, her killer, Dick W.C. Anderson.
Oh, Dick W.C. Anderson is a murderer, y'all.
He struck her on the head with a piece of rubber hose and attempted to fake a bathtub drowning. When that didn't work, he tried to shoot her, but the gun misfired.
Wow, he's like just kind of a comedy of errors.
Yep. He battered her face with the butt of a Luger pistol and stabbed her more than 50 times with a kitchen knife.
Okay, here's the thing. If you have a pistol in your hand, just shoot her. Yeah. She'll be dead. Instead of bludgeoning her with it,
and all that.
So just shoot her. You got a gun in your hand.
You know what bludgeoning is, right?
Yeah, it's when you beat the hell out of somebody.
Oh, okay. Because you were doing when you said bludgeoning a minute ago, it looked like you were doing a knife movement.
No, you're hitting them. You hit something, bludgeoning.
Yeah.
And let me tell you how early in life I knew what bludgeoning was, just in case you don't know.
Oh.
Maybe I knew before you. When I was in high school.
You didn't know till high school?
Well, I mean, maybe I knew before that, but I remember it most in high school. We would have high school football. Scouts would go to the other teams that we're going to play, and they would come up with a report. And that high school football coach would give us the report every week of the team we're about to play and what plays they like and who their stars are and who to watch for and all that. In hindsight, now I'm thinking about it, I really wish I would have paid more attention to that. It would have been helpful. But the cover always said some kind of alliteration with how we were going to destroy that team.
Oh.
So every time we played the Bears, which 4 years we played 2 teams called, there was the Golden Bears and there was the Green Bears.
This is fascinating.
It always said bludgeon the Bears.
Oh,
and I was like, I'm going to bludgeon those fucking Bears.
So you learned what it was.
So I always bludgeon. That's probably what I knew, bludgeon. And I think of that every time.
It was a fascinating story.
Boring.
All right. So.
Fuck yeah. Sorry.
Carol Thompson was able to stagger to a neighbor's house to get help.
Oh, wait, she's still alive?
Yeah.
This guy left?
Well, I'll get more into it in a little bit.
Wait, okay. She's staggering.
When the neighbor answered the door, she found a woman standing barefoot, blood streaming from her head and face.
Oh, another woman?
No, this was Carol Thompson.
Oh, when the neighbor opened the door. She found that. Okay.
She was so bloody they didn't even know who she was.
I thought she went to the neighbor's house, and the neighbors also had their shit beat out
no.
by some other murderer.
No, that would have been something.
That would have been some luck. Oh, let's go to the third house. Oh, you also were bludgeoned.
So, she said, I got a knife in my throat. A man did it. He came to the door. Won't you please help me?
Oh, my goodness.
So she was rushed to Anchor Hospital, where surgeons took a 3-inch knife blade from her throat, but she died 3 hours later.
Oh, man, our hero died.
The brutal murder shocked the Twin Cities and traumatized the Highland Park neighborhood.
Man.
So Twin Cityans were stunned.
And this is only a couple of years after the Vikings started playing.
Yeah, so they were stunned by front page headlines that evening and the next morning and shaken by rumors of a killer at large in the community.
Oh, no. I would be nervous, too.
Because this was an orderly, affluent neighborhood. These kind of things were unheard of.
Orderly as opposed to the Disorderlies, the Fat Boys movie.
And she was, in many ways, kind of like this upper middle class paradigm kind of. She was just a highly improbable victim. She was, you wouldn't think. You think you're safe. In Minnesota, everybody saw themselves in her. So they were like,
they don't lock their doors.
They started locking their doors, and there was all this fear and panic throughout the area. Because they thought this homicidal maniac was walking door to door. And
it was a gay maniac?
No, homicidal.
Oh, you didn't say homosexual.
No.
Would you say that there was a panic in the disco?
There could have been. Well, there wasn't discos yet.
Oh.
So driven by intense public pressure, St. Paul police mounted an exhaustive investigation.
I didn't know intense public pressure had their driver's license.
But they soon focused their attention on T. Eugene Thompson, the victim's 35-year-old husband.
Tug?
After receiving reports of his purchase of more than $1 million in life insurance on his wife and a history of womanizing.
Wait a minute. T. Eugene was her husband's name?
Yes.
So now they're thinking this guy hired this dude to come murder and stab his wife in the neck.
Yep. And he vehemently denied his part in the
But he's
crime.
known to vehemently do everything. He vehemently eats nachos. He vehemently takes a nap. He vehemently golfs.
So pieces of the pistol's grip
clips his toenails.
Stop it.
Sorry.
Pieces of the pistol's grip,
which
had broken off during the attack, were left at the scene. Okay. And
so the guy, if he hired him to kill this guy, he must have told him, "Don't shoot her, just bludgeon her with the pistol."
So
anyway,
it led
pieces of the pistol were there,
and that's what led the investigators to Anderson, who was this ex-convict from Michigan.
All right, and
he confessed to the killing.
A Michigan guy in Minnesota, he's an ex-con.
But he said that he was hired by Norman Mastrian, who was a former Twin Cities prize fighter.
Oh,
and that guy was
some
hired.
Boxing action in here.
Well, that guy was hired on behalf of T. Eugene Thompson.
So T. Eugene hired a boxer to hire somebody to kill his wife.
Yeah, like a middleman.
A middleman. So that's what you do. You don't hire someone to kill your wife. You hire a professional boxer to hire somebody, because there's nobody who's going to get it right more easily and will do everything more smoothly than someone who's been punched in the face 150,000 times.
That's right. And
has brain damage.
And he only paid $3,000, which in today's money would be, what, $1 million, $3 million?
I have no idea what
$5 million.
today's money is, and I would like you to do that research.
I know.
Are you dedicated to this podcast, or are you just half-assing this podcast?
Listen, I try.
Do you try?
I do, a little bit.
Do you?
A little bit.
Seems like there's not much trying.
Not much effort.
Seems like I'm carrying this podcast right now.
All right. So T. Eugene, he went by Cotton.
Schwing.
Because he had white hair.
He went by what?
Cotton.
Who did?
T. Eugene Thompson.
T. Eugene? Well, T.U. What does the T.U. stand for?
T. Eugene. Not T. Eugene.
T. Eugene.
Eugene.
I thought you were saying T. Eugene. So I was like,
I know, what is that?
T.
Okay,
Eugene.
so he grew up in Elmore, Minnesota, which was a small town on the Iowa border.
Oh, and only idiots are from Elmore, Minnesota.
He was
no offense to our Elmore, Minnesota.
He was at that time he was a high school classmate, and he played high school football with Walter Mondale.
Walter Mondale?
Yeah.
That dude knew how to play football and please women.
All right.
When you see Walter Mondale, you can't women.
Walter Mondale was a politician.
I know Walter Mondale was.
Okay.
I remember he lost to Bush, the first Bush, right?
Is that right?
Yeah, and he was actually on an episode of Cheers, I believe. But if you look up Walter Mondale right now, any woman, I don't care age, millennials,
and so Mondale was quoted as saying
baby boomers. No. Wait. Look up a picture of Walter Mondale right now. and try not to get sexually aroused.
All
Just
right.
try.
All
You
right.
can't.
So what Mondale says, this is what
Newport
Mondale
sweater.
said about the guy.
All right.
He said, we grew up together. His family lived just a block from mine.
What?
His
Mondale
dad was
lived
in
for
the-
this murder?
Yep. His
Grew up
dad
in-
was in the poultry business. It
Oh,
was really
chicken.
painful for me when he got into severe trouble with the law. He did something for which there was no excuse. He had to pay that price, and he did. He's got a nice family. I feel sorry for them. I extend my deepest sympathies to them. So Thompson,
That's why he didn't win the presidency.
when Cotton, whatever you want to call this guy,
Cotton Thompson?
when he was young, he lied about his age and joined the Navy after high school.
He just wanted to get in sooner.
And he served on a minesweeper in the Pacific during World War II.
Oh, Minesweeper's a cool game.
Then he attended college and law school and met Carol Swoboda
Wait. He attended college at law school?
and law school.
Oh. Do we know what colleges or law schools?
Sure, if you care. He attended Macalester College and St. Paul College of Law.
Oh, now, okay. Now I have a frame of reference.
That
because
was important.
Now I know that he probably went to school with Jim Schmuck and over at law school, and he went to, he probably practiced law with Marty Cromble.
All right.
That helps me. That's now I get it.
Okay, so he met Carol Swoboda, who had grown up in St. Paul, and the two married in 1948.
1948 marriage, huh?
So
Interesting.
they had a nice life, it seemed like,
Seemingly. But she was overbearing, is what it was.
No.
Was it that she didn't do enough research on their podcast?
Cotton he could have been a very wealthy man. He had a bright future in the law and perhaps in local politics as well.
Yeah.
He might have even been a judge.
Oh.
But he
On his way to being a judge, but something derailed it.
But he was a notorious womanizer.
Oh.
And he had been taking out life insurance policies on his wife for 15 years in bits and pieces.
Because he wanted to be with other ladies.
He had a long-running girlfriend. He had several girlfriends, but one in particular who he was eager to marry, according to her testimony.
Oh, well, it's her name.
She was not named.
She's not named.
So the police said that Thompson carefully masterminded the hit, including getting rid of the family's dachshund and removing a phone that Carol Thompson could have used to call for help.
That poor wiener dog.
And then Mastrian, the hitman he hired, was a former client.
That's the boxer?
Mm-hmm. He was a guy who was known to police in and out of trouble.
Oh, boy.
He had been involved in the murder of an underworld type years earlier.
Underworld.
And T. Eugene was his defense attorney in that.
T. Eugene, not T. Eugene.
So, unbeknownst to T. Eugene,
Yeah?
Mastrian subcontracted the job.
Oh, so he
didn't know that
he didn't
was a
hire the
middleman.
boxer to hire somebody else. He just hired the boxer.
Mm-hmm.
But when you hire somebody who's been punched in the face repeatedly, chances are it's not going to go great.
So, according to several underworld sources, 3 or 4 of these guys turned Mastrian down, and then finally a troubled Korean War combat veteran named Dick W.C. Anderson took the job.
Oh, so that's what I didn't know he was a troubled Korean War veteran. And what are you going to hire? A boxer who's been punched repeatedly or a troubled Korean War veteran? Yeah, either one's probably not the best bet to kill your wife.
I know. That's what I'm thinking. So his 6-week trial.
Maybe just don't kill your wife. Like
that's the most moral of the story.
Maybe just look at some porno magazines every once in a while. I guess they didn't have them then. Maybe
they had something.
They didn't have. They didn't have Pornhub.
They didn't have full penetration.
They didn't.
I
I
don't think so.
Well, they definitely didn't have Pornhub. Pornhub could have saved this guy's life.
I don't know. So his 6-week trial began in late October and drew intense media attention.
Ooh, intense media attention.
So the state's case was based on a chain of evidence that included the $1.1 million in life insurance and the presence of another woman.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious this dude did it, man.
And then they also counted on the dramatic, detailed testimony of Dick Anderson.
Oh, yeah.
The actual killer.
Now let's just jump to the chase. Where did this guy rot in hell and rot in prison?
Well, the defense
Where did he accept his
was
prison
led by
life?
respected criminal attorney Chaim Siegel.
Oh,
and they
Chaim Siegel's
insisted that
involved.
Thompson was a loving and dutiful husband, unjustly accused by untruthful witnesses and besmirched by misleading evidence.
You said dutiful and besmirched.
I did. Presumably against the advice of his counsel, Thompson himself took the stand, which they tell you never to do that.
Yeah, never do that.
In the defense. By most accounts, he did more harm than good in his cause, which is also usually the case.
Yes, he tripped over his own shoe, and he was eating a Kit Kat through most of it and got all over his face.
That's right. So after 12 hours of deliberation, the jury decided Thompson was guilty as charged, and he was sentenced to life in prison.
Guilty as charged. He said that like that.
So
where did he go to jail?
Well, after the verdict, the children were cared for by their maternal grandparents, Otto and Antonia Swoboda.
Wait, what were the kids' names?
Those were the grandparents' names. Otto and Antonia Swoboda were the grandparents'
took care
names.
Of Otto and Antonia took care of
the kids. Yes.
I don't remember there being kids.
They had 4 kids.
Oh, 4 of them. Do you remember what their names were? Did you say?
Oh, Jesus.
I don't care. Who
cares?
Cares? I just don't remember there being kids. I guess I was...
I did not say their names.
I was doing other things. I was maybe clipping my toenails during
All right.
As are our listeners. But it's a fact that most of our listeners are clipping their toenails while they're listening.
So the oldest child, Jeffrey, became a lawyer.
Jeffrey, what a stupid name. And no offense.
Later served as Rice County attorney in Faribault, Minnesota.
Oh, well, I take it back. That's not a stupid name. I just know an idiot named Jeff Barton. That guy sucks. Sorry.
I don't know what you're even talking about.
That guy sucks. Anyway, that's Jeffrey's probably fine.
So... Paroled in 1983, T. Eugene Thompson resettled in the Twin Cities and remarried.
What? He was paroled for murder?
Yep.
You don't get paroled for murder, do you?
You do.
What?
A convicted felon, he was prohibited from practicing law and remained on parole until he died on August 7th, 2015 at his 88th birthday.
And he never murdered anybody again?
Nope.
Wait, who was the Vikings quarterback in 1983? I think it was Tommy Kramer.
What? What does that have to do with when he was paroled?
Well, it'll just give me a sense of like, Archie Manning was the Vikings quarterback in 1983 and 84, huh? I didn't know he played for the Vikings. That's crazy. That just gives me a sense for when
it was. That's so silly that whoever the Vikings quarterback is tells you when in your life it was. Do you realize how sad that is? What a sad state of affairs that is?
No, it was Tommy Kramer. I think.
I think you're silly. And so that was the rather dull story of the murder of Carol Thompson.
That was not dull at all. Hold on.
It was hard to find details about it. Okay.
Well, thanks for listening, you
No.
fuckers.
So that is the beginning of 1963, and thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, we'll pick up in March. And
let us know if you like the show.
If you don't like it, let us know why.
And if you do, let us know.
If you do like it,
so we know who's listening.
Yeah, tell all your friends. Don't shut up about it until they stop being your friends.
That's always good advice from Joe.
It is, yeah. Just go on and on about it. You should listen to this podcast on American Timelines. These two jokers, and it's not like.
All right, it's time to get out of here, Chuck Berry.
Matt Truman, Ego Trip,
One more time, I said we're so tired of hearing about the 60s. Well, make me shut my mouth.
American Timelines is a member of the Queen City Podcast Network, powered by Ortho Carolina. Find out more at queencitypodcastnetwork.com.
America!